Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, take two. I tried before, but I'm just rambling. Okay, so I'm going to try to put my thoughts together the best that I can. Happy Self Care Wednesday. It is Self Care Wednesday. This brain is in some serious need of self care. One of the things I know, I go a little sideways with my own beliefs sometimes, and I try to keep them out of the show as much as I can. But I do really believe that the moon kind of has control. I mean, it has been shown that, it can control the hormones because it controls the water on the earth, right? And we are made of a lot of water. So I don't think it's crazy or anything to say that, it's possible that the moon can affect our moods. And yesterday, we had I believe we had a lunar eclipse, but we also had the full moon, and full moon in Pisces. And Pisces, the sign itself is a water sign and can be very emotionally driven. So, I don't know that much about Pisces because I am not one, but anyways, moving away from the woo woo before I lose anybody with that talk. I usually try to reserve that for Friday, because it's Aloha Oracle Friday, and I can just let the spirituality fly. But today I'm not doing that great. So, and I almost canceled the show, but I thought, no, you know what? One of the important things I try to drive home when it comes to the Aloha perspective is the fact that, this is a show very driven in regards to mental health and ending the stigma and showing people that it's okay to not be okay, that we're going to have bad days. And in doing so, forgive me, sorry, I felt like it was important to show that, as I mentioned the last couple of days, we're going to have our good days, we're going to have our bad days, whether you have a dinged up mental health or not. Some days we just need to take care of our brains. And last week, the last week and a half of shows, with the exception of Friday, have been very heavy. They've been, it's Suicide Prevention Month, and last Tuesday, I believe, was World Suicide Prevention Day. And so I've covered a lot of different things in that. And in that, I think, including yesterday, where I opened up a little more than I thought I would open up. I was just trying to share. I was just trying to be relatable, but instead I think more came out that I needed to hear for myself, and it kind of hit me sideways. Plus, as silly as it might sound to some people, because some people just say, oh, you should be over it by now. Last week was the anniversary of my mom's passing. It's been 10 years, but I'll be honest with you, it hit me different this year. Usually I go out, I try to do something that she'd like to do, but this year it really kind of debilitated me. And throughout the whole weekend, my mind was just racing in all different directions. It went very, very dark, very, very fast. And there was not a lot of energy to be had. I mean, Friday, whatever energy I had left from the week to do the Aloha Oracle was all I had. And it kind of carried into this week. But I think I've moved past that a little bit. And just kind of made peace. And I figured what it was is this was the first time that I've celebrated my mom's anniversary without trying to ignore it by doing something fun. And, because usually it's like, well, I'm going to do something fun because I don't want to think about today, but I'm going to make it in honor of my mom. And that's not a bad thing. I think going forward, I can do that again, but from a healthier place. Because at the end of those days, there would just be like, oh yeah, she would have enjoyed that. And then you get sad, and then you get angry. And this was the first time that I went through that anniversary without the anger. And I really kind of felt the loss and the pain. So, amongst other things, there's a lot that was on my head. And, sometimes you feel like the world doesn't see you, or the world forgets about you. And it can be a little hurtful, but it's a lot of times I think it's just all in our minds, or maybe it's not, who knows, but it shouldn't be something that we dwell so hard on that it hurts us and ruins the day. So, and I was just already in a bad place. So it was a very rough mental weekend. And like I said, I went pretty dark a couple of times, but I kept hearing my therapist's voice saying, you have the tools, you have the tools. So as I'm coming out of it now, I feel very proud of myself because, not to pat myself on the back, but like with many people, when we know we have these tools and we can feel ourselves getting better and our balance is getting better, I pulled myself out of something that in the past would have gone totally sideways. So anyways, I pulled some cards, and I do apologize if I'm rambling for all the ooh, ahs, okays, and likes and all that stuff. I'm really trying to maintain here. So, and you know what? I know it feels, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, I promise. That's why I wanted to do the self-care cards, because this is what it's about, right? It's about taking these feelings that we have. And again, whether you have a dinged up mental health or not, you may not have a dinged up mental health. You may just be, feeling like, oh man, today's one of those days. You just like, I need a mental health day. And again, you don't have to have a dinged up mental health to need a mental health day. Sometimes we just need to recharge. And one of the things I was mentioning about the full moon in the metaphysical world, the full moon is a time of release, right? Because you have the new moon, which is where you kind of set your intentions, you set your manifestations, because it's filling up, right? It's like watching a cup fill up. And, like you take like a round vase and you see the water rising. It's rising into the full moon, and the full moon begins to wane, right? So if, say, you have a cup and you're drinking something out of it and you see it going down, it is waning into the new moon. So, you have waxing into the full moon, waning into the new moon. And that's where we're at now. It's a time of letting go. It's a time of, taking these feelings that might have been hurting you and moving into a completely, different place by letting these things go. So what is one of the things I have said in the past? Feel it, honor it, heal it, and then release it. So feel it, honor it, heal it, release it. Now, when I say honor it, I mean, don't just brush it off, because when you brush it off, a lot of times it's going to come back, and it's going to come back harder. It's going to get mad until you listen to it. So do your best to just not ignore it and bring it in and say, hey, you know what? Have a seat across from me. What are you feeling right now? Let's talk about this. And I know it sounds silly because you're doing this with yourself, but honor those feelings that you're having inside, and then figure out what you need to do to heal them so that you can release them. And sometimes you may have to do this a few times, right? I mean, I'll use my therapy for the last year and a half as an example. It was, I went in a little bit different than I left. So, so I mean, I think I left a little more encouraged, a lot stronger. And, well, I should say a lot more encouraged, a lot stronger. And a little more confident in the tools that I had. So, she basically took the onion, peeled it, and made something out of it. Or, it was, think of yourself as like a teapot, right? A silver set that needs polishing, and then it comes out all bright and shiny. But, when you first go in there and you're ready to kind of clean these things, you're just kind of like, gosh, is anything really going to happen? Then you make that clean spot, right? And you're like, whoa. And it kind of feels like that. So it's very important to take care of ourselves. Self-care is very, very important. So connect with the earth. This is probably something I should do today. Now, a lot of people will say, when they say connect with the earth, you could take a hike in, outdoors. If you live near, a lot of people live near these really tree-filled areas, which I'm very, very jealous of. I mean, in order for me to find a tree-filled area, I've got to drive to it or go to the beach and then, just kind of sit there and connect with nature that way. But one of the things we can do for ourselves, if you have a patch of grass, outside or some dirt, just take off your shoes and just connect with the earth, or just go stand outside in the sunshine, connect with nature. I mean, I may not be around a forest of trees, but I do have trees around here, and just connect. It's not about standing there and saying, hey, what is the tree feeling? You don't have to do that. Some people can. Some people have that gift. But for, just going out to kind of find your calm. If you're at work and you're not feeling all that, happy or great or whatever, just step out into the sunshine for a little bit. See what happens. If it's raining where you're at, and you don't you don't have to worry about getting soaked, maybe stand in the rain a little bit, do that safely, because lightning can be bad. All right. So you hear thunder, run. But no, seriously, just connect with nature. Connecting with nature can be such a wonderful, positive, and beautiful thing. Sweet treats. Sweet treats. This may be a bad thing for me today. The last thing I want to do is feed my emotions. I have to feel them today, not feed them. But I can't say what's going to happen. I can't say what self-care is going to contain today. But yeah, but don't ignore the sweet treats. And if you're not a person who is really into sweets, but you do like that little bit of that sweet kick, you can have fruits, right? Fruits, maybe whipped cream or fruits and Cool Whip. Baby sibling taught me the apples and peanut butter and chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips. I love dark chocolate chips. So that's a fun one too. It might seem silly to some people, but it is actually really, really good. And if you don't like peanut butter, there's almond butter, there's apple butter, there's all kinds of butters. All right, there's all kinds of butters out there. But yeah, don't ignore the sweet treats. Don't overindulge either. Okay, just one of the ways to be mindful is to slowly move through whatever it is you're eating. Don't just inhale it, but just enjoy every moment of it. Enjoy every bit of it. All right. And, sometimes when we don't inhale, we could just, connect with your ancestors. I like the tree of life they have in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's kind of fun. It's pretty. But, connect with your ancestors. If you are into that sort of thing, if you were able to tune in to your past, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe there's something in there that needs to be healed. One of my favorite binaural beats that I listen to sometimes when I'm falling asleep is Cleansing Your Ancestral Karma. And a lot of times there is generational trauma. A lot of times there is generational pain, or they even talk about in the metaphysical terms of generational curses, where it's just this somebody just messed up a timeline so bad that everybody behind them has to kind of fix it and heal it. And I know that gets a little into depth. All right, I know, but sometimes it can be as simple as that. If you don't feel like you have any generational curses, maybe you have a very, very good relationship with some of your relatives that have passed, that were older. Tap into them. Remember their teachings. Remember their kindness and their love that they gave to you. So that's a good way to keep in touch with your ancestors. Plan a vacation. Now, everyone will say, really? What if I can't? Plan a staycation. Okay, somebody came up with the term staycation for a reason. That doesn't mean you have to go stay in a hotel 10 miles from your house. No. One year I had no idea what to do. And I didn't really have a vacation planned, but I had to take my vacation. I was kind of forced into taking a vacation. So sometimes I could just get really wrapped up into work that you realize, oh my gosh, I haven't planned a vacation. So one October, when it was cooler, I told them, I said, well, I'll go in October when it's not so damn hot. And I just planned all kinds of things that I don't normally do. Older sibling and I went to the Getty Villa, which isn't the Getty Center. It's the older one. It's the original. We did Malibu. We just drove up Malibu one time and found this cute little place where, in fact, I saw it in a couple TV shows later, which was kind of funny because it's like, wait, you're supposed to be on the East Coast, but hey, but it was cute. It was this old little country place, got some coffee, got some pastries, just sat there, at the tables outside and just kind of watched life and enjoyed the breeze. What else? We went to the pier in Santa Monica. I did a lot of stuff in LA that I don't normally have time to do, because I just had time. We had time to drive up, didn't care about how long it took to get home if there was traffic, because, didn't have to be up early the next day for work. So, it was, we planned a staycation, or you can plan a vacation, so do what's best for you. I planned a trip to London in 2 months, literally 2 months. I bought tickets in December for a play, and in March I was off. But every month entailed something. January was the plane fare or the plane ticket. February was the Airbnb, and March was poof, off to the races. So anything is possible. Just do your homework, go through these websites. If you're worried about how much something might cost, go on YouTube. People will tell you how to find low rates. Now be careful, because some people might be trying to scam you, so double check these things. But also, I just did a lot of homework on the internet, so don't be intimidated by the internet. Remember, you are in control of what you find and what you look for. So get a health checkup. This is a big part of self-care. I can't tell you how many people I hear about that pass away, right? And then they're like, well, they didn't know they had heart problems. Your heart is you cannot live without your heart, right? You cannot live without your brain. You might be able to live without a little bit of your liver. You might be able to live without one kidney. But your heart and your brain are very, 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 let me stress that again, very important. So take care of your heart, all right? I know. I just started going back to my cardiologist, and I have an appointment in a couple months. I see him twice a year. But health checkups can be very, very important. If something doesn't feel right, don't freak out. Just get an answer first, all right? Get an answer first. Above and before anything, before you start panicking, because sometimes it may be nothing. Maybe you fell down, you hurt yourself, maybe you ran into something and it caused something wonky to happen inside of you. There's all kinds of different reasons why something. It may not always be dire or drastic. So please, please, please get yourself checked. It's better to catch things early than to let them spiral into something bad. How did I know this card was going to come up? It's the pleasure card again. Yes, it is. It is the pleasure card. So let's just go there. Take care of yourselves. If you have personal needs, take care of it, right? There's no shame in it. I know a lot of people think there is. I know a lot of people stigmatize, a very different kind of self-love. But who cares? Just, if it makes you happy, do it. Now, remember, I'm going to say this because sometimes people, when there can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like obsessive behavior. Okay. If you do this and you go through it and you're like, wow, that was great. And maybe you want to do it again. It's like, wow, that was great. But then maybe you're in a bad mood, or a sad mood a couple days down the road. And instead of dealing with that mood, you're like, oh, well, this made me feel great, so I'm going to do it. Now, do it with a healthy mind, okay? Do it with a healthy mind, because sometimes we can have impulsive behavior. There is such a thing as there's not just addiction to substances. There's not just addiction to food, which is my issue. There's also sex addiction. So, there are people who've gone to therapy. There are support groups for that. So, there's a lot of different reasons why that might come up, but just mind yourself. Okay. I don't know why that popped into my head, because last week when we had this card, it did not, but just in case. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm in a different place today, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with self-pleasure, and there's nothing wrong with pleasure. Okay. Period. But do it safely. Do it safely. And, and make sure everyone's consenting. But yeah, I think since it's just a single person in this card, with their hand going to their nether yayas. Thank you, Big Bang Theory, for that one. I want people to find a way to remove the stigma of that. I was talking with someone the other day and they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. I would never do that. That's no. And, but it's like, I know that there's a fine line, right? Because you don't want to put so much out there, but you also don't want to be, you don't also want to leave people hanging. So all I'm going to say about this is it's okay. And it's not a bad thing. It can actually be quite an enjoyable experience. And I speak from experience. To be honest with you, I'm hoping for a partner that will make me feel the way I've made me feel, because until I discovered that, and kind of, well, I won't go into details, but when I discovered that, I didn't realize my body could do some of those things. So, and it really starts to make you think about the people you've been with in the past, and, whether or not they, when you are experiencing pleasure with a partner, it should be a two-way street. All right. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. That's all I'm saying, is don't be selfish. But when you're by yourself, no way to be selfish, because you're the only one in the room. So I know I'm getting red. I got to stop talking about that. So I know, right? I'm trying to destigmatize it, but at the same time, I'm getting embarrassed. So not an easy subject to talk about, but it's a little hard when you put yourself out there. So make a meal. Making a meal can be very therapeutic. Be careful if you're using a knife, but it can be very therapeutic. You're creating something, you're putting something together. And it doesn't even have to be making a meal. Maybe you want to bake something, break out that KitchenAid mixer, and, mine's just gathering dust on my countertop. But, get that stuff going, get that stuff moving. You can make your own homemade whipped cream. I think it's just, you have to look for the recipe online, but basically it's just heavy cream and a little bit of sugar. And yeah, one of my favorite things about making homemade whipped cream is just kind of sitting in front of the TV and just, taking my little whisk and you just start whipping it. You could put a little vanilla in it if you want to, with the vanilla beans. There's just all kinds of things that you can do, when it comes to making a meal. And like I said, when I make the whipped cream, I like it because, and eventually, you'll look down and you look down and you look down just to see where it's at. But as you keep going and you find it kind of hypnotic, you start thinking about, you're not focused on what you would normally be thinking. You're not focused on whatever the issue at hand is. What you're doing is you're moving through it, and you're doing something therapeutic to get through it. And then all of a sudden, maybe you're feeling like, well, I can't accomplish anything. But, it's like, well, I need to make this cake, so I'm going to make some homemade whipped cream. Then all of a sudden you start noticing it's forming. It's getting thicker. It's becoming what you're trying to make. And you did that. And that's life. Sometimes you just got to keep whipping at it until it becomes something. Life can be really equated to cooking or baking. You have all these different parts that come together to create one big thing, and something amazing. So make a meal, right? I'm so sorry. I don't know why my shirt keeps going crooked, but, it's funny. I got this shirt at Comic-Con, and I have to tell you, it's so soft. I did not expect it to be this soft, but it is super soft. So take a walk. I may or may not do this later today. There's not a lot to see where I live, so I might go to the mall and walk around the mall, but I'm currently undecided. But if you are feeling a little outside of yourself and you need to kind of reconnect with you can take a walk in nature. There are, like I said, there are hiking trails. You could take a walk around your neighborhood. You could take a walk on the treadmill, maybe watch a favorite show. YouTube has so many things that you can do. In fact, when I jump back on the treadmill, there is this one channel that I watch. I can't remember what it is, but they walk through London, and I love England. So I love London. I haven't seen a whole lot of England. I've only seen one area just outside in the countryside, but other than that, I love London, and they just walk all over. So I mean, you can just walk on your treadmill and just imagine you're the person walking through all these things and seeing all these wonderful sights. So yeah, take a walk. Next, aromatherapy. Now, first and foremost, disclaimer: be careful with the aromatherapy. I use incense in my house. It seems to be okay around my cats. Be careful with diffusers, all right? Animals can't process aromatherapy the same way we can. So if you're going to do something, see if there's a pet-friendly place that you can find. Be careful if you make your own sprays, because even when the scent goes up into the air, it is still sort of a mist, right? Especially if it's a diffuser. So just be careful with that, because like I said, animals process it a lot differently. One of my cats who's since passed away, she survived because we didn't know. We had no idea. But it was when I did my homework and I looked back, it was the only thing I could think of. And she didn't process the lavender spray very well. And it was a homemade lavender spray. And when I would spray it in the morning before I go to work, she'd come walking in to just kind of say, hey, what you doing? So, but the carpet would be, you know, kind of a little misty with it. And I noticed that after, you know, she would start doing this, you know, one day she just got really sick and they just said, well, you know, there's something that she's ingested, and that could have been the only thing because it was very gradual. So just be careful with that, okay? But aromatherapy can also be very wonderful. Like I said, I use incense. I just light incense, and it's actually my favorite thing. I can be very sensitive to smells when it comes to like floral perfumes and whatnot. So, and a lot of times, I mean, they smell wonderful. They smell great, but with the diffusers themselves, they tend to be a little strong for me. So incense, you know, if you have a sensitive sinus cavity, yeah, do that. Plus I can pull the musky things, because musky things are more, you know, what my head can handle. Like I said, it's all the floral things, which all the pretty smelling things, right? Like I can smell a flower, no problem, but you put it in a perfume form, poof, I'm out. So, yeah, so they're, just be careful. But again, aromatherapy can be wonderful. They have cones. They have, those little charcoal things that you can put little, the little pellets on. I have frankincense for that. Be careful with those. Again, I know this feels like more of a warning than, you know, hey, go have an aromatherapy, but it comes with 1,000 rules. If you use little charcoal, tablets to put your resin on, just be careful. Because it creates a lot of smoke. All right. If you are Catholic and you've been in church, I am pretty sure this is what they put the resin on, because it does. If I do burn that, I burn it outside, you know, very carefully, obviously, and it does take a few moments to light up the charcoal, you know, the little charcoal tablet, and they sell them separately. Okay. They come in little packets, little tinfoil type looking packets of discs. That's the word I'm looking for, a charcoal disc. And it has a little lip inside so that you can place it evenly on there, or open a lot of windows and do not put it near the smoke alarm. I've made all these mistakes, so I'm trying to let you know I've made all these mistakes. Don't do what I do. So just use wisely. All right. I know that was kind of lame, wasn't it? And energy work, your chakras. So you have your root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, and third eye, crown. So, yeah, do your energy work. I know a lot of people are going to go, energy work, la, 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 la. But hey, energy work is amazing. It can be Reiki. A lot of people do Reiki. And again, if you don't know how to do Reiki, go to the binaural beats. Okay. That's also energy work. Binaural beats are, you know, a lot of people will hide these tones inside of music because a lot of people can't handle the tone straight. You know, sometimes it's a little too much. It's almost like, just hearing like a one sound, and a lot of people can't handle that. So they embed these binaural sounds into music or into different things. One of the people I like to listen to, I can't think of the website off the top of my head, but he uses crystal bowls. I've watched Tibetan singing bowls, even if you have your own. And it's funny because you can really feel the shift when you kind of, you know, tap one. But there's a lot of different places. Just look up binaural, binaural, and they can show you a lot of energy work. A lot of different things will come up. You can find something that suits you. Some of them might be really long, but you don't have to sit there and listen to them. A lot of times they're long because people will listen to them as they fall asleep. And it kind of, you know, because your subconscious does start to pick things up. So, and they can help with healing. It is one of my favorite things to do. So, all right, let's go for the morning mantra, and then I am out. So, let's see here. Okay, waiting for, there it is. I'm like, waiting. No, we've done that one before. That was the one with the people yammering on the phone out loud in public. All right. Okay. I choose what's better and healthier for me. Instant gratification is fleeting, but smug satisfaction lasts forever, like 8 to 12 hours. So this one is pick wisely, right? Pick wisely. But you know what? Just be careful with that. Again, I know I keep saying be careful, and a lot of this might just be me talking to me, right? You know, you point your finger this way, three are pointing back at you. But if you do opt for the less healthy thing, just be careful with it, right? Just sit there and do your best and be mindful about the eating, and don't just plow through it so that it feels like, oh, well, now what? So just be mindful of it, enjoy it, right? Because you know if you are feeding an emotion, you're feeding an emotion. You're not trying to suffocate it by tossing everything down at the same time. So just try to sit there and be mindful about the eating. You can also use portion control, but don't be afraid to have the sweet treats. You know, sibling and I both got a slice of cake yesterday. Absolutely happy. Absolutely happy. So, but when I thought about it, I probably went through mine a little bit too fast, which should have been a sign that there was, you know, something that needed to be worked on in my head and some emotions I needed to deal with. So, again, I choose what's better and healthier for me. Instant gratification is fleeting. Now, if you're a person that consistently reaches for the sweet treats, maybe keep bananas, strawberries. I know strawberries are kind of going out of season now, so they're not as sweet. They're a little more on the saucy side. I like to put them a little more on the tart side, but I like stuff like that, like the green apples. I like the tart, but yeah, just try to keep the apples around, try to keep the bananas around, or the grapes or blueberries, whatever it is that you fancy to eat and to feast on. And you know, if that's not enough and maybe you want some ice cream, right, put a banana on it. I know I'm not trying to tell you how to be healthy while being unhealthy. Ice creams, you know what? These things exist when we use portion control. This is one of my my cardiologist's favorite sayings for me. He's all, Shelly Marie, you don't have to stop what you're eating. But he's all, use portion control. I know. Use portion control. If you go to McDonald's, instead of getting the supersize, well, they don't do supersize anymore, but back in my day they did. But he's like, just get whatever you want and get the small fries, get the small drink, or get the water. I usually get water. Not lately though. I'm kind of addicted to Dr. Pepper, which might be a bad thing because I gave up soda. I gave up Coca-Cola about 12 years ago because it became my crack. I love Coca-Cola, right? And so I didn't give up soda, but I gave up that. But then I discovered Dr. Pepper a couple years ago, and it's just like, I mean, not discovered it. I know it existed, but I started drinking it, and then it's kind of like, ooh, because I like the bubbles. But so just be careful. I know this. I'm really, really sorry. I know this Self-Care Wednesday has probably felt more like a warning of what not to do, but I just want you to know I'm doing my best today. And for all of you that are just sitting there going, what is wrong with her? This is my dinged up mental health hard at work. And I am, like I said, I came on early today to do this show because I just really wanted people to see that, you know, sometimes when we struggle, it's not just, you know, laying on the ground, giving up. You know, sometimes it's just, it is a battle. It is a sincere battle. And it is a sincere battle to really kind of find that balance. And to be honest with you, I've been struggling with my balance for quite a while now. So, with the balance of who I was and what my new normal is. And my new normal being, you know, a lot of times we talk about the new normal after a relationship might end, after somebody passes away, because this is somebody that's removed now from your life. But for me, this is my new normal because I'm not the same person I was, you know, a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. And I am in a more healed place. I am in a more, level place. But trying to achieve that balance, I think it's been more out of fear now that I talk about it than anything else. Because it's like, well, when I find that balance, what next? So I think there's been a part of me that's been trying to ignore it because it is a little scary and the new balance requires going with the flow. whereas the old Shelly Marie was just, gotta control it, gotta do this, gotta do that, because if I do, I can't get hurt. If I do, I'll know what's going to happen. And to be honest with you, life can hurt us, and we never really know what's next. We just live in this illusion that we do. And we live in this illusion that we have control. We don't have control. We have control over certain things, but we don't necessarily have full control, right? I mean, you can put your dog on a leash, take him for a walk, say, yeah, I'm in control because I'm holding the leash. And who knows? In one weird, freaky moment, you might accidentally lose control of that leash and poof, you're chasing your dog. So, but you left with the illusion that you were in charge, that you were in control. So just mind your mental health. Again, whether you have a dinged up mental health or not, self-care days are necessary. Self-care is necessary. It's not selfish. Okay? So I think actually the term goes, self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. And it is very necessary. And I really want to stress, even if you do not have a dinged up mental health, sometimes the world just sits on you so much that you just need a day to decompress. And there is nothing wrong with that. All right. If you are a person like me who has a dinged up mental health, I do my best every day to check in with myself. I have an alarm to check in with myself. But today, I checked in with myself a little earlier because it was just kind of like, something's not right today. Something doesn't feel right. So I really needed to kind of lean in to that feeling and say, all right, Shelly Marie, where are you at today? And I had to come to the conclusion that I was not in a very good place. And to be honest with you, this is part of the new normal. In the past, I would shame myself for that. Be like, great, again. But this time it's like, okay, what do I need to do to feel better? And, I will do what I need to do to feel better. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll be back here tomorrow. 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch. If you follow me on Twitter, you can catch me. I do post the show after I upload it to my channel on YouTube, the Aloha Perspective. And I also upload these to TikTok. So again, please take care of your mental health. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Enjoy the sweet treats. Enjoy the fun food. And don't overindulge. Enjoy the pleasure, but don't, do your best to not be, do it to a degree that's healthy, not addictive. That's what I should have tried to say earlier, but do it to a degree that is healthy and not addictive. Enjoy the moment, okay? Enjoy the moment. That is what these things are all about, is enjoying the moment, not just rushing through it and saying, okay, what next? All right. So again, have a great day, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.